And we are recording. Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by Durandal. Durandal is a tabletop role playing game set in the times of Charlemagne's court with mythic chivalry and legendary warriors. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products. They have recently released Savage Swords, a Conan-inspired tabletop RPG where you explore ancient civilizations and confront forgotten nightmares. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Dead3 Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls, experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released Daughters of Lamb. This is a pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG where you play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. You will find it in their website. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Now, a moment, please, while where am I? While I maximize. Aha, maximize. Yes. Okay, I am continuing the Dragonbane solo tutorial actual play with this video. If you haven't seen the other parts of this ongoing solo campaign, please check out the playlist in the description below. We are still, of course, exploring Deep Fall Bridge, that underground complex, because that is a feature of this solo campaign, included in the Dragonbane box set. As usual, I am going to make it as clear as possible when I am playing the role of Garman the Reckless. I am interpreting the results of the Game Master emulator included in the box set. And so it begins. I roll to determine the contents of the next room. The area is cramped chamber. I roll to determine the number of improvised weapons. 3 weapons. Bats, stalactites, stalagmites. I roll to determine the number of details. 1. Danger. I roll to determine the type of danger. Dreadful altar. As Garman proceeds into a cavern whose ground is still moist due to the rain, making its way from various cracks and crevices. Garman can see a cramped chamber infested with stalagmites, stalactites, and bats all around. Some of them resting, some of them flying. In the middle of this large cavern lies a dreadful altar, painted with crimson marks, shaped with spikes and bones, skulls, femurs, arranged with crude ropes around the spikes of the altar. The altar is no more than waist high. As garment, I put the torch on the ground, prepare my bow and an arrow, and shoot an arrow at the altar. I now roll on the fortune chart to see the effect. The altar remains still, no apparent effect visible. As garment, I put away my bow, pick up the torch, and prepare my long spear, holding it with my right hand, and cautiously begin moving, staying close to the west wall of the cavern. I use the fortune chart to determine if the altar reacts in some way to Garman's approach. The altar glows in a blinding crimson light for an instant. I now roll to determine the effect of the altar as Garmin approaches. Avenge, peaceful, captivity. A red spectre appears floating on top of the altar. As the shining red light dissipates, the red spectre speaks. You were the one who trapped me in this altar. Now you will pay for attacking a peaceful soul such as mine. As Garman, I quickly reply. Wait, noble spirit. I mean you no disrespect. I am a weary traveler, searching for an item that will surely help protect this land, perhaps even thwart the plans of those that actually captured you. I make a roll with bluffing to see if Garment's words convince the spectre. A dragon. I put a mark on bluffing for a potential level up. I roll on the inspiration table to determine the answer of the spectre. Hunt, destroyed, history, the spectre answers. You may pass, but only if you swear to hunt down and destroy those that have trapped me here and that have erased my history as a warrior. As Garmin, I reply, consider it done, so I swear. If I encounter those that have trapped you here, I will make them pay with their blood. The spirit, the spectre, vanishes, and Garmin can see an exit from this cavern further northwards. As Garmin, I continue my pace. I stop for a moment and bow in the direction of the altar and continue my path through the tunnel. As Garmin proceeds, he remembers the words of the old wolfkin. Rivulets of flood water course through this labyrinth. I see a minotaur of great strength and stubborn pride, lost and enraged, searching for something eluding him. Living skeletons dwell here too, wayward souls refused passage by the ferryman and doomed to wander the maze. As Garman, I stand just at the entrance, sticking close to the wall on the right, looking into the huge cavern, displaying scenery out of a nightmare. As skeletons that walk around wielding rusty weapons move erratically throughout the huge cavern. And at the center, on top of a boulder, stands a minotaur. Through subtle light that makes its way from a small hole in the ceiling, steam flowing out of the nostrils of the minotaur is obvious to everyone that would dare to look at this cavern. As Garman, I place the torch on the ground as far as possible from the entrance. Prepare my bow. Aim an arrow at the Minotaur's head and prepare to hide to the side as soon as the arrow is shot. I roll sneaking with disadvantage. The arrow flies and strikes the Minotaur, bouncing on one of its horns. But Garman is able to quickly hide as he listens to the Minotaur's roar. Startling stumps, cacophonous sounds of the Minotaur rushing down the boulder, racing through the room in a blind rage, attracting the attention of the skeletons by the sound of bones rattling and moving in the direction of the Minotaur. As Garman, I quickly put away the bow, prepare the spear, and pick up the torch, and rush at full speed through the room across, attempting to hide the sound of my footsteps and my motion due to the conflict of the Minotaur against the skeletons. I roll acrobatics. Almost losing his breath, Garman hesitates. As Garman, I take a deep breath and release it almost in a single motion, becoming sickly with dizziness, almost taking over. I push my rope. Garman, almost throwing up due to the exertion, makes his way across the cavern safely without without catching the attention of the Minotaur. And this concludes this session. Well, those results were very difficult to interpret because you had a Minotaur and skeletons in a room. And the random results that I obtained, we had the dreadful altar. Luckily, the interpretation lent itself for me to use the bluffing skill. I don't think the Minotaur was intelligent enough to trap the spirit in the altar, but perhaps later on we will encounter enemies that are quite sorcerers, and perhaps they were the ones that trapped the spirit. And Garman, because of the nature of the character, he is true to his word. He is going to try to avenge this spirit, so he will fight no matter the circumstances, fight intelligently with strategy and tactics, but still. I think that one of the trickier aspects was to gauge the right distance of the Minotaur with the skeletons. But when I was interpreting the results, I immediately had this clear picture in my mind of a Minotaur standing on top of a boulder with a subtle light shining on his head and skeletons moving about erratically. So if you already have a clear picture, maybe it's not worth it to make several rolls to determine the distance. But that is valid. I could have used the fortune chart with the number section of the table to determine how many meters was the Minotaur away from skeletons or from cave entrance, etc. Still, if it flows smoothly, go for it. If you already have the image, go for it. The Game Master emulator, the tables, the oracles, no matter the solo RPG that you are playing, they are tools there to get things going when you get stuck. I didn't feel stuck envisioning the situation. Thank you for watching this part of the solo tutorial actual play campaign. This has been your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. Anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description, the pinned comment. And remember, in tabletop role playing games, you are not telling stories about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you and see you later.